Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I am chatting with my friend Danish Debater. We're gone early today, as you probably already noticed, because he's also, over on the European side there. So it's a little bit later for him, as me doing it at 5, it would be like midnight your time or something, I think.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here now. So
yeah, there you go. So yeah, hopefully you're all right to stick around for a little bit after the interview for a little bit of an after party. It's not going to go too long because I have to go and deal with my sister with my mom issues and stuff like that, right? So yeah, really we'll go for a little bit, but also I won't be drinking as much, obviously, because I have to drive. So a couple over the night should be fair. And I nurse the shit out of them during these anyway. So cheers. But anyways, guys, welcome to the stream. Today, we're going to hear Danish Debater's deconversion story, whatever version of one that he has. And that's basically what I do here is I talk to people about how they found their way out of whatever belief systems they were once a part of. So Danish man, what I usually do is ask people to go back as far as they can remember about being involved in whatever system they were involved in and take us on the journey of how you kind of found your way out of it and into the freedom of non-belief, as I say.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, my story is rather boring compared to many of those I've heard on your show, to be honest.
Well, they all matter, like I said. Yeah, which is good, actually.
So, well, I'm grown up in Denmark and live in Denmark still. We are a very secular country in many ways. We do have a state church. It's an Orthodox Lutheran church.
Right.
And I grew up in a family. We weren't poor or anything, but we did take those free offers of camps and things that you could do as a child, different clubs and everything you could join. And that's pretty much my first experience with religion, so to say. For instance, I went to a Sunday school every second week, but this was more like a club where you could play games, and they had some of the computers there, which was pretty awesome. We didn't have a computer at home at that time.
Right.
So, but it, of course, involved these small prayers here and there and small stories of all the great heroes of the Bible. And yeah, that was how they were portrayed. For instance, we had one of my pet peeves is the Book of Job. I will dislike that story today, but the way we got it told there, it was how Satan came down and tested Job and all these nasty things he did to him. No mention of God's involvement at all at this point. And Job is just this stand-up guy who's just, no, I will fight for God all the way through. That was like the stories we were told, and every single stories were kid-friendly like that, right?
Right.
That's like my first experience with it. And then we had Bible camp at summer, which was when I was about 8 or 9, I think. I took to these camps, and to be honest, I had a great time. It was fun and everything.
It's camp.
Yeah, exactly, right. I remember all the songs and we're chatting together. And of course, there was once in a while an adult would come over and say, "So, what are you doing?" "Oh, we're playing hide and seek." And so, okay. And did you know that Jesus, these small nudge here and there, which then I didn't really care for. It was just, okay.
I thought you were going to say, "Did you know that Jesus was the hide and seek champion?"
That would have been awesome. If I ever meet them, I will come back with that. It's like, I guess you could call it easy indoctrination, but not like I've heard many people are like, you have to believe this. It was more like, yeah, this is the right thing, this nudge, this direction all the time, right? And then when I got older, we got to my confirmation time, and that's where I will say my path towards atheism started, though it was a long path from there. It started by us actually having to read the Bible as it was in reality, and suddenly all these kid-friendly stories started to fall pretty much apart. All this loving God that I've heard all my life, all this spirituality I was told about, and we got to read about Noah and all the people that died there, and I couldn't comprehend in my head that this should be right. I mean, sure, the sinners, all the adults were evil and oh no and all that, but what about the babies? What about the animals and all this that I know a lot of people have problems with? And my priest was like, yeah, but they are united with God now, so that's all good. And it didn't really ring a good tone in me. So I started to continue reading, and then I read about Job, which is why it's one of my pet peeves, because that's actually what set me off here. So I asked my priest, okay, so what about Job? That just seems so harsh, what happens in this story. Oh, no, don't worry, because Job was rewarded again. He got all these things back because he was a faithful man. Yeah, but what about his kids? What about them? Well, they were killed to test Job. And he was like, yeah, but he got them back. No, it doesn't say he got them back. It says he got a new family. So it's like he replaced the old family, and for 13-year-old me, that just didn't click.
Jive. Yeah.
No, it didn't. But I was still spiritual. I still believed that there were spirits, there were gods, and all these powers of nature, because I've had all these inner experiences at, for instance, Bible camp and Sunday school and all that.
Sure.
I felt all this, so I was like, okay, I can't believe in this version of the Bible. So I had to go back, and I went to our local library and tried to find the other religious book, found the Bhagavad Gita, found the Quran.
Wow.
And to be honest, first of all, of course I couldn't read it all at that age. I read what I could, but still it didn't really stick with me. So I ended up going home and told my mother that I can't go through this confirmation. I simply can't. There might be a God or something, but the version that I've learned can't be right. It's just
right.
I couldn't. And my mother was like, okay, fair enough, no problem. She was Christian, but she also believed in numerology. What do you call it in English? The numbers and names and.
Numerology?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
oh, good Lord.
Reiki healing. Yeah.
Reiki healing too. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Believe me. She even had
FYI. Spoiler: it doesn't work.
Well, you don't say so. She actually even had the educations that you could get in that period. It was very popular in Denmark to be educated Reiki healer and numerologist and all that. And I told my grandfather, no problem at all. She's like, okay, that's your choice. And then I told my grandma. And she tried to say, okay, that's your choice. But she broke down. She couldn't handle it because she was so afraid that now my soul would go to hell.
Right.
And to be honest, at that point, I was one of those atheists that were angry at God, though I was not an atheist, but I was angry at God at that point, because how could you put this fear into one person over another person's personality? So I ended up actually going through with my confirmation anyways, simply for her sake, for her to have peace of mind, so to say.
Sure.
But I was still searching. I had to find out, okay, was I misinterpreting the Bible or God? What was it? So I actually still have my book, the first spiritual book I found, and I think it is the same cover as the English one, except this one is the Teen Witch by Silver Raven Wolf, Wicca for the Young Witch.
Yeah, I know the author. I was into Wicca for a while, so I'm very familiar. Yeah.
So that was an interesting book, and all this. This harmony with nature, there are multiple spirits, that there are multiple gods, but there is the goddess and all that. It was, it caught me a bit more, not Wicca per se, but the neo-pagan movements.
Sure.
So I found a group of people who worship the same. Some people were Wiccan, some were shaman believing, and there was a lot of combination. Denmark is a small country. So our societies at that time were smaller and more mixed because there were not enough people to form individual Wicca societies and such. And here again, I participated in different events, some summer camps that they held and all that. And again, I felt these different spiritual experiences, and how when you sang together, when you hold a ritual, you could feel those spirits inside you. And it was like, it was just like, oh, this confirmed that of course there are magic out there, of course there are ghosts and second lives and everything, and we even went dream traveling and all that with a guide, of course, because that's the way you end up actually having the same experience everyone, because there's someone guiding your experience. But as a teen at that time, 15, 16 years old, it just seemed right, because how could we all experience the same if it wasn't real? But the power of suggestion is real.
Yeah.
As I think you will get any mentalist to sell you today.
Yeah, power of suggestion is very real.
Yeah, and I fell for that, and I will say that was my former Christianity and spirituality from there opened me up to just accept this new thing, because I felt there must be something. And so I went on and called myself a new pagan for a lot of years. When someone asked and didn't understand that, I said, "Oh, I'm Wiccan," because everyone knew what Wicca was at that period. So that was the easy solution to just say that.
I still wear my old ring that kind of,
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I actually have a pentagram tattooed on my back.
Oh, so. Wow. Oh, no, you're a portal for demons now.
Yes, indeed. Though I can't speak in tongues. That's a neat trick I never learned.
It's easy, man. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Oh, yeah, but that's first tomorrow. So, anyways. No. So that's basically how most of my teen years went, and I really believed in all this. And then I finally came the time where I had to join the military.
Yeah.
In Denmark we have conscripts, and I was one of those who decided to stay in there for some time. And at this period I hadn't really been into this scene so much, but I met a guy who had broken his leg. At training, so yeah, that's what happens. And then another guy came over to him, and he was one of those save it again Christians, and he said, "Oh man, your leg seems like it really hurts, so let me help you." And he bent down and he started to pray to Jesus, and you could see this guy with the broken leg. He was like, "Oh my God, this is good," and he went up and he walked away. I was like,
"Oh no!"
I was okay, damn. And I had to reconsider all this, and I talked to this Christian guy. So he said, "What was that?" We said, "Oh, that's the power of Jesus. Jesus in all of us." And I was really in tumult, because, damn, how could this be so strong? That was until the next day, where we were told that the guy would never come back, because he had broken his leg even more and wouldn't be able to complete training even if it healed up. So he simply had his mind set so much that, oh yeah, it's healed. So he had walked on it. Simply, again, the power of suggestion.
Right.
And that's...
but that can be dangerous, don't you think?
Yeah, that was what happened. His leg never healed correctly.
Right. After
that, because he simply broke it even more by walking on the broken leg.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. So this just told me that, okay, that there's something wrong here. How can I have all these spiritual experiences? How could this person walk on his leg after these were told? And that really went around in my mind for a long time. Then time came and I got more educations in the military. And one of the educations I got was I became a physical trainer. And there we learned about something called the champion's mindset. I don't know if it's the same in the United States, but this is where you talk yourself or another person up into believing that they can complete whatever the task you have to do is.
Sure.
One of the things you do is you boost yourself by yelling, "This is great, this is good," regardless of if it's good or not. And you celebrate everything you do. Even if you fail, you celebrate that you did it. So
right. So it's like pep talk on steroids.
Yeah, really. That's what it is. And what I suddenly figured was that I have exactly the same experience when I do this with people as I had when I made prayers. But I know this was absolutely secular. There were no gods involved, there were no spirits, there were no nothing. It was simply just adrenaline pumping through your body like rage or endorphins or other things.
Sure.
So then I suddenly realized, okay, so all my spiritual experiences, can they all be explained by something like this?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the final answer. But I end up going on my first mission, being away for half a year. And at the same time, I also got my first kid just before I left, actually. But the thing about both becoming a parent and being away for half a year is that you lose a lot of connections. That's just the fact of it. All those semi-loose connections you had before, they kind of fade away. And this included 99% of all my spiritual companions beforehand, people who talked about all this. So suddenly I wasn't surrounded by this universe of spirit here, spirit there, God there, God there. And that actually meant that, I guess that's 14 years ago. And in theory, I think I can say that I have, for all intents and purposes, been an atheist since then. But I still identified as a spiritualist in different ways until,
well, don't forget that spiritualism, whatever that means, because it pretty much means something different to everyone individually, you can still be a spiritual type of person without any religious overtones at all. So
yeah, I would say this is the spiritualist where you also believe in actual spirits and ghosts and healing and all these things. Believe that there must be some gods out there.
Yeah, that's just different type of it. That's all.
Yeah. But I identified it as that for that time. Then I think 4 years ago, I started taking more educations to learn more things. And I have a problem, or I had a problem, since I was small. I have a form of what's called dyslexia, where you can't spell and write. But mine is not the usual kind. It's where the brain's pattern recognition is going on overdrive, basically. So whenever I write a word or something, or read a word, Gesundheit, my...
just coughing, sorry. Wrong too.
Yeah, that's okay. My brain will try to finish the words much, much faster than it needs to. Okay. So this means when I read something, I might read how you're doing today, and I'm going to read it as how are you doing too late or something. And my brain will simply replace those words for me. So if I read it again, it will still be the same for me. And I'll read the same thing over and over again, even though it's wrong. And this also means when I type on a computer, for instance, if I type wrong, I couldn't see it because I knew what I would have typed. So that was what I read.
Right. Wow. So your brain just kind of recognizes what you typed, even if it's wrong, as what you meant to type.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And that, of course, was a big problem when I wanted to have a higher education, because I have to be able to at least spell a bit functional. But luckily, I had a teacher who knew this kind of dyslexia and said, well, what you have to do is you have to train your brain to know even more words. To the more words or languages your brain knows, the better the chance that it will use a longer time to think and therefore recognize the word correctly instead of just putting something down. I was like, okay, how do I learn more words? Well, rhetorics would be a good idea, she told me. I was like, okay, rhetorics, where can I get that? And I got books from Aristotle and all that and started reading those. And then they talked about debates. Okay, let's look at debates. And as soon as you start to search debates on YouTube and the internet, you will fall into...
Welcome to a rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. But you will find all these atheism versus religion debates primarily. Those are far oversaturated on the internet. But that was actually the first time I was introduced to real atheism. And of course, I fell in with the standard reading of Dawkins' book of Sam Harris and Dennett, and watched Matt Dillahunty and all these different people on the internet. And I could say, okay, I don't agree with everything they say, but they are far more closer to what I'm actually at than what I had learned before. And that was actually the first time I identified as an atheist. That was 4 years ago. And then, of course, I have had time to read a lot about what atheism actually is, and can see there are some contrasts between opinions currently online.
Yeah.
to say the least. But even with all those contrasts and the different debates, I will still say that this where I can actually say I belong, because I actively can say I do not believe that there are any gods of any God ever written for man, by man, about man, which is, and I'm putting a type on man here because that's pretty much the main category.
Right. The way. Yeah, I got you.
I'm not saying that there is absolutely no possibility for any God definition to be true, but I think it's more like if there is something out there, it's something that is as gods unto us. That's not the same as saying that it is gods, if you know what I mean by that. That's pretty much where I am. Currently reading my bachelor's as a computer science with a specialty in artificial intelligence and data. And of course, we had to go through all these different things about how physics works and all these basic stuff. And yeah, basically, I don't see as many say, the room for the gods of the texts. I don't see where and why, and I don't see the need for them either anymore. Because all those experiences that I had that I thought were spiritual, I have found solutions to all of them. I can replicate all of them, at least for myself. So. Yeah.
They've been able to do that in laboratory settings for a while now, where they are able to stimulate certain parts of the brain that actually can create that spiritual event, we'll call it, that you're feeling like you've had some sort of, euphoric spiritual feelings, and they can actually stimulate them, and they can actually make you see things that aren't there too, which is bizarre.
Yeah, I read some of those studies. That's some of the things that kept me convinced that this is true. Especially, I think it was a British study where they did it, and this lady, she was told beforehand, now this is what we're going to do, and given your background, this is probably what you're going to experience, and she experienced it, and she did not believe them. No, that was a general spiritual experience she had. She did not believe, even though she knew beforehand everything.
Yeah, that they were going to do it. Yeah,
it's like, okay, that's pretty powerful, actually. I mean,
it
might not be convincing to her, but it's pretty convincing to me as an outsider. That if she can be so convinced by that, pretty much telling it.
That's how many folks stay in belief systems like that, because they have these experiences, and they're even without actually maybe trying to look into what it could be, they are sure that it was what they think it was, right? So
yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't matter. You can drag them into a lab and show them that this can be recreated using some form of a scientific method, and they're still going to believe that what the experience they had was legit for them.
Yeah. Well, another example is the guy with the broken leg I told you about. He of course did not believe it afterwards, because he said, "Okay, I was so stupid that I walked on the leg." But the born again Christian, he still believed it. He said, "Oh, that was because he had lost faith in the healing. He didn't keep believing Jesus did it."
Sure. Yeah. It's called special pleading.
Indeed.
Oh, well, it couldn't have been the Jesus touch healing that didn't work. He just didn't believe it worked. So no, shut up.
Yeah. Pray for rain.
You're causing harm here. Yeah. It's like you're going to hurt this guy. So, which is terrible.
Yeah. Sadly, he continued to do that kind of stuff. And I can't take myself off the blame. During my first education, I got some friends who I then talked with and got them into spirituality. And one of them is actually one of the few people I still talk to today, but he is way into some form of new age witchcraft thing. I'm not entirely sure what it is. He's living in a collective in Jutland. It's Peninsula out of Germany, a Danish island, Peninsula. And he doesn't have a job because he can't keep them, because he can't stop talking about these stuff to everyone around him.
Wow.
When he tries to have a job, it's mostly something like, "Oh, I will read your fortune online," and he does this kind of stuff instead.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I feel really sorry, because I was the one who got him into this at that time, and I haven't been able to get him out of it later, because he is still so convinced.
Well, it's not your fault, man. I mean, he's obviously he wanted to believe something, and you gave him something to cling on to, right? And it's tough to break them free from stuff like that, if especially if you're the one that introduced them, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And all fair be told, he got a family out of it now, and he has a nice society that he lives in that he's happy with. So it's not like I want to drag him out of that. So I haven't been trying that hard. I just find it
good.
A bit sad to see that he is so delusional from something that I've put him into, that I know exactly that one is at least not true. That one I can say. Also because I know one of the people behind it later himself turned atheist and said, okay, yeah, I already knew back then when I did it that this was more a social thing that he had going, that he liked running.
Yeah, for sure.
But even he has been there and has said, yeah, sorry guys, this was not real. I know I made it all up and that was not fair. They don't believe him. It's like, they continue their belief even without their leader. It's like,
Yeah, well, it happens, right? Anytime there's for lack of a better term, when you said even without a leader, anytime there's some form of we'll call it a power vacuum, somebody steps up to fill that void anyways, usually.
Yeah, I haven't looked into who took that, if someone did.
Right.
I don't want to look into it because, honestly, no.
All you can really do is just have, the odd conversation, a friendly one over a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever. And just kind of, so what is it about this that still convinces you, or, that kind of thing? Be an easygoing kind of conversation. I find that at least people are willing to talk about it when it's non-confrontational, we'll say.
Oh, yeah, he's very willing. There's no problem there. He is just so convinced of all the experiences that he had then and still have today, including his own reading of people's fortunes. He believed in those. It's, he's a nice guy. So, see a question here.
Yeah, from Skeptic right there just popped up. Is it accepted widely in Denmark to be atheist?
Yeah, mostly. I haven't really met much problem with it. There's a few, intermission people. This is like our conservative Orthodox Lutheran part of the church. There's some people who can be a bit aggressive. We have a lot of neo-atheists in Denmark, sadly, online, who are very vocal. And while I have nothing against neo-atheism by itself, the vocal part of many of them can be pretty much off-putting to anyone who wants to have a debate or talk.
Or conversation,
yeah.
Well, you don't forget that a lot of them, once they find their way clear of these types of beliefs, a lot of them feel like they were lied to. And there is that stint of anger that comes along with it. Like, God damn it, I was lied to my whole life about this.
That was what I felt with my grandma, right? I felt really angry. I just didn't go into atheism then. So,
well, but we can't blame the people. Indoctrination, although I think, I don't know. My thoughts on indoctrination are pretty out there. I don't think anyone should be indoctrinated into anything, really, but you should be given the option to check everything out and decide for yourself. But that's tough to do, especially when they're your kids, right? And you want them to be like you. So, it's just the way it is. But, I don't even know where I'm going to go with this now.
That's okay. I don't think most people who indoctrinate actually intend to indoctrinate.
No, they're not trying to lie to you, is what I mean.
No. It's like they want to share their good information, their right way to live. That's
right.
Not
according to what they believe, anyways.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Again, that was the same with my grandma. She was afraid that I would go to hell. She tried to accept that I didn't want to be Christian. She just couldn't live with the consequences of that choice. So,
right.
Tons of mice. Yeah, nice one.
Tons of mice, full of it. Full of them.
Yeah, ton. That's a lot. Mice ain't that heavy.
Yeah, but tons of mice is heavy. There you go.
True. So yeah, but that's pretty much the story. As I said, it's not that spectacular or anything. It's just normalizing atheism, I guess.
That's the goal, right? I mean, I think all of us can agree that that's the goal. People are afraid of atheists in some places because they don't know much about atheism. Really, it's pretty simple. Atheism deals with one thing: do you believe in a deity? Yes or no.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're atheist. If you do, then you are a theist or a deist or a pantheist or whatever form of theism you are. But theism means belief in some form of deity, and atheism means I just don't believe. I'm unconvinced by the so-called evidence, we'll say. So
yeah,
that's basically all it is. But everything else is completely different. Like, I could be an atheist and I could still be a dickhead too, right? So I might have some other beliefs that are right. I might have other beliefs that are dangerous as well, right? There are even atheists that believe in shit like astrology, which is another thing I think has potential to harm people as well. So
yeah, indeed, if you live by it, it could be really harmful.
Yeah, it can be.
No problem there. Yeah.
Sorry, folks, but the stars and the planets are way too far away to have any effect on you whatsoever, guys. Sorry.
The square law, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, once you understand that kind of thing, it's like, because I used to be into all that shit too. I was right into it. I was always looking for something that I could believe in, we'll say. But eventually I was like, you know what? This is all fucking garbage, and I'm done with it. So
also that easy realization, I guess. Not so sudden.
Right. So you spoke a little bit about how, like with your grandma and stuff like that. Did you have, since coming out as being an atheist, have any of your family members ever tried to sort of lasso you back into the faith or anything like that?
Well, as I mentioned, my mother was into Reiki healing and all that. So not into Christianity. No, she hasn't. But when I was young, of course, I believed in all this stuff myself, and I believed I could see spirits and communicate with spirits. So after my grandma and granddad, second language.
No worries.
After they died,
you speak more than one language, which is head and heels above many people. So
fair enough. She really wanted me to reconnect with this part of myself, to communicate with them, because she felt this loss of not having them anymore.
Right.
In my family, I was at that point considered to probably be the one with the most connection to that world, actually.
Right.
So she really wanted me to do that again and use a lot of time. And I think it's not a year ago since she last asked me a question about these kind of things. She said she had smelled the smell of tobacco in the hallway, and if that could be my grandpa visiting. And
oh wow!
And this is like, Mom, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I've given up on trying to explain to her that I don't believe in it anymore, because regardless of how many times I've said it, she still asks me these kind of questions.
Wow. She might be trying to convince you. You never know.
Yeah, I think she might be deep down. I'm not sure she's realizing that's what she's doing, but yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, you must be able to remind her that Grandpa wasn't the only person that smoked tobacco.
Yeah, but then I have tried something like that, and then it's like, yeah, but it smells like his tobacco. Yeah, okay. You do know that you have
grow his own? Is that what you're saying?
You do know you have moved 60 miles since then. You're living in an old house. A lot of people have lived in that house in the meantime, and herself smokes like, not anymore, but she smoked 2 packs a day at one point.
Wow.
So it's like, I don't believe her sense of smell is that acute, to be honest. That's just not something you can really convince her of. And as you said, I can't convince my friend that his world might not be the right one anymore. And I don't think you can convince your family anymore, to be honest. The only reason his story doesn't seem interesting to him.
Yeah, it's normal to you, but it actually was an interesting story. So,
well, thank you, Jer. And I don't sell myself short. I just don't think this story is that spectacular. Then let's use that word instead. I've seen other people online here.
Yeah, I've had quite a few people on. So
Yeah, one or two.
yeah, and every story that I've heard come through here, many of them have a lot of similarities, but a lot of them have some stuff that just catches you off guard. Like, wow, holy cow, right? Like, so. But all these stories are important, in my opinion, for people to hear. Because I know that there are a lot of people out there who might still be under the umbrella of some sort of a religion or belief system, but they are having questions and they're having doubts. And to know that there's a community of people out there that have been past that were right where they were, but found their way out, can be quite helpful, because then they don't have to feel like they're alone and scared, right? So
That's true.
let's face it, there are a lot of places in the world where if you're an apostate, you could be killed.
Yeah.
Which is fucking ridiculous, but it's the way it is.
I'm really happy that I live in Denmark. And if we're talking religion, I mean, even compared to the United States, nothing against the United States in any way. But when we're talking religion, I'm really happy I live in Denmark and not over there, because it seems like it's so much more in the everyday life of Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you have it here and there in Denmark. And yeah, I went to Sunday school, but I've heard about American Sunday school, and it's nothing like that at all. I mean, this was really just a club where once in a while would sit, oh yeah, and Jesus. Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough.
That's basically where it was, to be honest.
So where do you sit, we'll say, with the mythicist sort of camp? Do you actually think that Jesus was a real guy, or was he like a collection of personalities, some flamboyant rabbi back in the day, or like what's your feeling on that sort of thing?
Well, I'll say I'm actually leaning towards the mythicism, the version where they have collected a lot of different guys, or have selected a guy that wasn't anywhere near the version we know today. Right. I do think he could have some roots in one of the many religions, not religions, what to call it?
Mythology?
Different Jewish sects back then. But to be honest, at least the Jesus of the Bible, I don't believe he existed at all.
Right. Or that version of him. I
think that's why I say of the Bible.
I don't know if any of us can really be sure, but I think that there was probably some itinerant rabbi who was off his rocker and running into synagogues and flipping tables and all kinds of shit like that, possibly. But we can't really know. I mean,
I have it a bit like...
it just sounds like mythology, so that's what I write it up as, myself.
It does. There's no difference in many ways between all the things Hercules did, that Thor did, or any of the others, to what Jesus did. I actually had a talk on Facebook with some other Danes here, and one asked, and he is an atheist, by the way, the one who asked it, said, so why does God want us to be with him? And he said this as a way to start a debate. And a lot of people, that's why I say I don't like the new atheist movement, at least in Denmark. A lot of people are like, why ask that question? I mean, God doesn't exist, so he doesn't want anything. Well, that's not the point of the question. We can also ask, why did Thor dance with age, part of the Norse mythology, or why did Hercules complete the 10 tasks? We can always ask, why do they want, without having to accept them as real people.
That's right.
And I think that's very important, especially if we proclaim ourselves to be atheists, that we ask these questions so we can actually talk to the people we would like to help.
Right.
At some points. I mean, it doesn't help just to say, oh, Jesus didn't exist. Yeah, but he believes so.
That doesn't help at all. But I think the mythological character of Jesus, as he is in the scriptures, probably did not exist. Because let's face it, you can't, without some form of technology, you can't walk on water. I'm sorry. And you can't, once cell death occurs, you can't come back to life. It's not a possibility. So,
indeed. Yeah. And still people say, oh, but we just didn't know about how he did. Yeah, but if he did that, a lot of text would exist about it. Not just those that we have. I simply can't fathom that he should have fed the many with the few fish and all these things he should have done. And we only have so few people writing about it. So much after. Nah, doesn't add up.
TV tube me. Yeah, no, it doesn't. And Abram Perkins. Okay, somebody found the Caesar's Messiah video on YouTube. It's nonsense, dude. That Caesar's Messiah video is absolute utter nonsense. There are a couple of things in there that do match to factual historical things, but other than that, it's garbage.
I haven't seen it. So. It's
Atwood, I think, was the guy that did that one. He's comparing Jesus to Horus and stuff, right?
Oh,
the similarities, and the fact is there are similarities with multiple deities with Jesus and Krishna. There's each of them all. It's like they took attributes from these different deities and kind of compiled them onto Jesus, right? So.
Yeah, I'm currently listening to what's called Richard Carrier's on the historicity of Jesus.
Yep, and I have it here actually.
Oh, I only have it as audiobooks, so
I have both. Yeah, also had him on the show.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
I think so far I'm halfway in. I'm at chapter 8. So far he comes with a lot of good points, but if he wants to convince believers, I think he should take a step back on his delivery. But that's just the rhetorical part of me talking.
He's pretty like in your face and to the point when he does that stuff. So.
He is, and I think my problem there is he starts by assuring everyone that he will take as positive stand as he can and be as neutral as he can, and he doesn't come off like that. Even to me, who actually believe in his his conclusion, he doesn't.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
So.
He's done a lot of interesting research in the field for sure.
Oh yeah, indeed.
I don't agree with everything, but Bart Ehrman's another one too, right? That does that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think he's like 3 books down or something. I made this giant list of books that I'm going through, some hard copy, some audiobooks, just because I like to read and learn. So why not? Yeah. And about the leprechauns, who wouldn't kill for their gold? I mean, if you have a pot of gold, you have to protect it.
My cousin Jason just typed out some wall of text.
Oh,
but yeah,
fair enough.
Quote from Schuchman, actually. I should get Jason on the show.
So is he atheist too, or believing?
I don't know, Jason. Would you consider yourself an atheist, or that's a spinner? Yeah. Would you consider yourself an atheist, Jason, or more of an agnostic? Anyway, if you'd like to see what Jason wrote, you can. I'm airing this on Facebook too, so you can head over to the to my page on Facebook, and you'll find it written out there. So,
I actually don't think I have found you on Facebook.
I didn't know you had a Facebook, to be honest. The only link I have for you in the description is the Twitter one. So
yeah, that's because my Facebook is my private Facebook, so I don't.
Gotcha.
It's not like who I am is a secret or anything. It's my face right here, right? But sometimes you just don't eat and you know what at the same place.
Yes, right. Jason says he's both. He's an agnostic atheist, which I've heard people call themselves before, which is, that's more of a, well, we can't really know, but I don't believe a position, right? So
yeah, I think that's probably a healthy position to keep in today's environment. If you see what's going on between atheists and agnostics online. I think that's like the safe bit.
Look at Andre Neil trying to one up his guest on his relationship to Carrier. I have a book. I've had him on the show. And that's not what it's about. I just thought he'd be interested if he hadn't seen it to go and check it out because it's a good conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find that conversation later. That's for sure. So
yeah. He's a pretty friendly guy. He's a pretty down to earth guy for the most part.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people kind of don't really dig him all that much, but in the atheist community, I mean, but that's all right. Not everyone's going to be for everyone, right? Not everyone's going to be everyone's cup of tea. So
everyone have their own purpose.
Okay.
I mean, Richard Dawkins has his purpose. Matt Dillahunty has his, and then we have what's called Magna Basco, who's an all branch, much more down to earth conversations. And,
oh yeah, Anthony's good people.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, he's a really, really, really nice guy. He's a lot taller than I thought he would be, actually. He's like almost my height. I'm like, holy shit, Anthony, you're way taller than I thought you'd be. He's like, what do you mean? I go, I'm like 6'4", so.
Oh man, metric.
Well,
European metric. I don't.
Geez, you know, what would 6'4" be? 190 something centimeters.
Yeah, I mean, just.
You could probably Google that shit real quick.
Yeah, that's what I did. 193.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last time I was measured, it was 194 centimeters. So.
Oh.
Just over. If I put my boots on, like my biker boots, I'm like a hair over 6'5" in them. So.
I'm like 5'8", it says here. So
right.
I don't know what the standard height is in America, but I'm pretty much happy because I'm absolutely average in height. Oh, yeah. Same here.
Nothing wrong with being average.
No, it's nice.
Beats being subpar, doesn't it?
It depends. If it's golf, I guess subpar is better.
Funny you said that. Last night before crashing out, I was playing the old McElroy golf on the PS4 from a few years back. Yeah, it's a fun game. And I got my character that I designed for the thing up to like 96%. So as you play, it's like the courses just get harder and harder to do. Okay. But it's rare that I don't get a birdie on a hole these days. So, but this is like video game golf. If I tried to golf in reality, I'd be a shitstorm. That's all I can tell you.
I've tried it, but that was a drunken golf. So I remember the first 3 holes, pretty much. So that was before my that was before my first mission, actually. We played golf together, the entire squad. And every time you hit the ball, you had to take a shot. We had the golf course for ourselves, by the way.
That's okay. That's cool. I like that.
So
we used to do. I never like actually went and played any like real ass 18 holes of golf or anything. We used to go to like the pitch and putts or do 9 holes, or because by the time we were done doing 9 holes, back when I was actually physically able to do that shit. I'm too old and crusty nowadays, but we would be like just shit-faced drunk by the time we got to the 9th hole. So there's no going to the 18th hole. Forget it.
Yeah, we just skipped them. I've seen pictures from the 11th hole of that game, but I think that was where we got to. No one knows really. It's all a mystery. Maybe someone walked over the pools. I don't know.
They walked over the pools like Jesus on water.
Yeah, I mean it's just as much a mystery. No one knows.
Well, there is a golf joke with Jesus. I don't know about what was it? Moses and Jesus and God are playing golf or something. Moses tees up first and hits it over the water hazard. He goes, "Oh crap, it's going to go in the water." So he stamps his staff on the ground. The water parts and the ball goes right through and onto the green. And then Jesus goes up next. And he takes a swing, slices it a bit, right? It's going right for the water hazard. So he kind of waves his hand and it skips along the top of the water and goes right onto the green. Then God gets up there and he slices it really hard to the right. And he's like, "Oh, crap, I'm not even on the course." So he waves his hand and an eagle grabs it in the air, drops it on a tree branch where a squirrel picks it up, brings it down to the ground, where a groundhog picks it up and takes it over to the water, where a fish picks it up and swims it over the other side of the river or the water hazard. And then another mouse comes up and grabs it off and then takes it and drops it in the hole. And Jesus is like, "God, or Dad, quit showing off." Something along those lines. A really, really silly joke.
Yeah. There's a lot of good jokes with Christianity, about religion in general. Yeah.
No, I didn't golf with Jesus.
So Jerry's like,
the guys I used to go golfing with were named Eric and Kevin. So,
And are you sure Kevin ain't Jesus? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know. Okay, fair enough.
very, very sure. Very sure. Well, since we're already doing like golf jokes, I know it's a little early, but we could bring this to a wrap, and we can go and do the after party for a little while, anyways, because I do have to go and take off in a little while to see my sister, find out some more information on what's going on with my mom. For all you guys in the chat that don't know, my mom was she last Sunday night after I was visiting her, she went for a bite to eat with a friend, and she had a pain in her stomach. So, and it was pretty severe. Kevin is the alternate spelling of Jesus. Anyway,
so in the Torah.
Yeah. Hey, I know the Torah. It doesn't say that anywhere. Come on. But
Between the lines.
She had a pain, so she took herself to the emergency, and it turns out that she had a twisted bowel, like a twisted colon. So they went in and they fixed it up. They untwisted it, and of course after that, the next day they went in with the colonoscopy, like with the camera, and see how things looked, and then they found a lump in there, and it was cancerous. So last night she was in the operation getting that removed, and they found it had spread a little bit, or it can't either spread. Most of the time with colon cancers, it comes from somewhere else and ends up there. So they removed an ovary and 2 lymph nodes. So they're not. We're still not sure whether or not she'll have to go through the chemo or some form of radiation treatment, which concerns me because my mom's diabetic. She's quite old and she's diabetic, and her kidneys don't really work very well. But my very good friend who's in the chat right now, Quiet Gorilla, has reassured me that things should be okay, even with that going on. So we're going to find out. I'm going to talk to my sister in a little while. But that's not till a little bit later. So we will do a little bit of an after party, guys, if anyone would like to jump in and hang with us for a little while, probably about an hour or so, then I'll wrap it up and head over. Yeah, Grant Farmer. Mini golf is my jam. I love mini golf. Mini golf's a lot of fun. Yeah, this is the normal progression for such a diagnosis so far. Thanks, QG. Yeah, he's quite knowledgeable in this stuff. So it's actually, I'm very thankful that I have people in my life that are that kind of knowledgeable that can help take the edge off of my anxiety when it comes to this sort of thing. Because this is my mom, right? So anyway.
That's why it's good you build this community, or helping building it.
Yeah, well, that's part of why I do what I do, because I want to introduce some atheists that may not know others in the community to that community by engaging with them in the after party, right? So that's part of the reason why I do the after party. But anyways, Danish Debater, thank you very much for being my guest today. A little bit shorter than normal, but
well, that's
I appreciate
not so much to tell.
Well, that's okay. We were able to stretch it out with some silly conversation afterwards about golf. So that's okay.
That's important. Fair enough.
Yeah, but we're going to do that, guys. So if anyone would like to join us for the after party, you can reach me through Twitter or Facebook, and just send me a message, and I'll give you a link, and you can jump in for a little while. Well, also, since I've been going live on Facebook these days, I want to thank everyone over on Facebook for hanging out and checking out the podcast as well. It's great to and share it if you guys like. If you like what you see, let folks know and share it, and let people know that we do have these kinds of conversations, and they can come and check it out. Also, to my amazing patrons, it's you guys that help me, inspire me to keep going. You basically help me cover some of the costs and stuff like that, which I very much appreciate. And very, very soon now, Randolf Richardson, the president of Canadian Atheists, and myself, the community advocate for Canadian Atheists, are starting up our own call-in show called True North Talk. So head over to the channel on YouTube. You can also get a link to it from the www.truenorthtalk.ca website. We're also affiliated with the Canadian Atheist website, which there's a link to there as well. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go check it out. And you can also, I wasn't involved in the last one, but I was involved in the one before. But the revamped and relaunched nonprofits, myself and many other great folks are hosts of that new version, and it airs on Sundays between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience at about 3 p.m. Central Time. So head over to their channel and give them a sub there if you're not already, and you won't miss an episode. And one last thing, on the last Saturday of every month at about 2 p.m. Pacific Time, you can catch myself and Andy and Seamus. Andy is the host of Laughing in Disbelief, and Seamus is one of the hosts of the Free Thought Prophets channel. We get together with usually a guest, and we usually pick some silly topics and have some fun making fun of people and having a few brewskis. That probably coming up, I think, next weekend. So I think it's the 27th. So yeah, it'll be next weekend. Busy day for me next weekend. But anyways, guys, that's it for this show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, remember to smash that like button down below. And if you're new to the channel and you're digging what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. You'll have to hit that little bell thingy, though. You can ring my bell. No, I won't do that to you. All right, guys. We'll be going to a quick break and then going into the after party pretty quickly. So there is a link for it below, so you can head over there and wait for us. We'll be there shortly. And until then, guys, like I always say at the end of these episodes, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.